Hey, what's up, you guys, and welcome back to the televised podcast. My name is Anna, and today we're going to be talking about what ended up happening at DC Fandome. Obviously, in my last episode, I talked about what to expect from Supergirl and Batwoman and, all of our favorite DC TV shows at DC Fandome. But then I think DC and Warner Brothers, they decided that it would be way too much to try and get everybody to watch everything all in one day, and I'm sure that they didn't want headlines to be buried, especially, when it comes to things like this new Batwoman that they have to convince people about, anything for Supergirl, just stuff that people would want to watch, and they didn't want people to be torn between the two, so they split it up into this past weekend was DCEU, like DC Extended Universe stuff, and then also DC Games. There were 2 game reveals, Gotham Knights and then Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So that was interesting. I'm not a big gamer, so I wasn't super interested in that, so that won't be talked about here. Sorry. But I am gonna go through basically everything that happened this weekend. I want to talk about the trailers that we saw because they were so good, and I was so impressed by some of them and kind of disappointed by others, and also just talk about some miscellaneous news. So just so you know, obviously we had DC TV Flash this weekend. I'm not going to talk about that panel because I don't watch The Flash, but the rest of DC TV will be happening September 12th in the exact same kind of way. Go to dcfandome.com to watch and to enjoy. So it was interesting. I was really shocked that they basically pulled TV from the whole event, besides The Flash. But I think it worked out for the best, because they could just have everybody watching the same stuff. You don't have to worry about people not paying attention to what they wanted people to pay attention to. So I am really excited to talk about all this stuff. Also, just a quick heads up, I broke my elbow. So I'm going to try to have to edit this as little as possible. I apologize if there's like weird pauses or whatever. I broke my elbow, and it's hard to use my right hand, and I am right-handed. So I just want to keep the editing as simple as possible for me. So I'm going to try and get through this without having to do any kind of editing. But if you do hear any like weird pauses or things like that, hopefully it won't be too horrible for you. I kind of try to leave those in anyway, just because it makes it feel more organic. But anyway, so yeah, I'm excited. Let's talk about the first thing that happened at DC Fandome, which was the Wonder Woman 1984 panel. It was so great. It was so awesome to see the whole cast together. Obviously, we won't get a real, quote unquote, real press tour from them. It'll all be virtual. Unless we can miraculously get our shit together by October, it'll all be virtual press tours and stuff, which does suck. But it was so nice to see everybody there, see Patty, Gal, Kristen Wiig, Pedro Pascal, Chris Pine. It was really cool to see everybody there. And then, of course, the big surprise, which was Linda Carter showing up. That was so incredible because I, like everybody else, love Linda Carter, love what her show was. Love what she did for the superhero genre. Just, she's incredible. She's literally such an incredible human being. Obviously, we loved her on Supergirl. She played President Marsden a couple seasons ago. So yeah, it was a really great panel. It was such a great way to kick off the event because it kind of set the tone for the rest of it. You're kind of like so hyped up from Wonder Woman that you're just like, wow, I cannot wait to see what's next. So let's talk about Wonder Woman. In the trailer, there was some Themyscira flashbacks, like young Diana. I wonder if we'll see the return of Antiope. I could not think of her name for the life of me. Robin Wright as Antiope. I really hope we see her back because she was a highlight for me of the first one. And obviously, if we're talking about the past, then she wouldn't be, dead in the past. So we see a lot of new kind of powers from Diana. We see, like, you know, obviously shows of strength that we've seen before, but then we see her using her lasso to like grapple between lightning strikes, which was insane because obviously, you know, she's like daughter of Zeus or whatever, so you know, she's kind of got those insane powers, which is so cool. And then we see that Max Lord was actually revealed in this trailer to be either the president or working at the White House. I don't know if maybe he's the White House press secretary because he was standing in front of the White House press thing, or if he's literally the president of the United States in this movie. But in the first trailer, we did not see him at the White House, so it seems like it's kind of a businessman turned president situation, which obviously is very familiar if you live in America. And obviously he's not a great man, so... And then we see Steve Trevor coming back, which is amazing. He clearly is there for some comic relief. He's a great character. I love Chris Pine especially. He was obviously the chemistry between the two of them was a standout from the first movie, and that's, I'm sure, why they brought him back. I'm really, really curious to see how it happened. Obviously, I feel like Max Lord is somehow involved because of his voiceover in both the first and the second trailer. And then my highlight of this entire trailer was Kristen Wiig. Not just the cheetah reveal, which I'll talk about in a minute, but just her presence and her energy as just Barbara Minerva, you know, like obviously we've seen her be such an incredible comedic actress and just knock it out of the park as, you know, with her comedy, she's hilarious. But you know, to see her take on this role that is clearly very serious. You know, she's talking about how she wants to be an apex predator. She's, you know, she's like struggled in her life. She's like, Diana, you get everything you want. I get nothing. I'm just so excited to see what she does because I know that she can be an incredible dramatic actress. And I think this is awesome. I was a little like confused, not necessarily confused, but curious about her casting at first. Not that I ever really doubted that she could do it because I know that she can, but just to see her in action in this action movie, like being so physical in the trailer, not even just when she was Cheetah, but just, you know, her and Diana have that face off and when she's wearing like the cheetah print skirt. I'm just really, really excited to see exactly what she does in this movie because I think this could kind of start a new chapter for Kristen Wiig in her career, which is something that's really exciting for me as a fan of hers and something that's really cool, you know, to have this actress bring something else to the table who, you know, like I said, we all know is obviously very funny, but to see her bring the action and the drama is just really cool. And of course, that look at Cheetah. I was shocked. I didn't think that we would see Cheetah until we sat our butts in the theaters, genuinely. But I guess because, like, the Funko Pops are out now, like, and they had tried to hide them for a long time, but I have the Pop sitting on my desk. And so they're like, you know what? Let's just tease it. Let's do it. And I love her look. I love the look. I love how, because people were like, oh my God, it's cats all over again. No, it's not. If you look at her legs, like her bottom legs, it has like those like thick like thighs that like cheetahs have, you know what I mean? And the way that her hair looks and the way that the like spots on her face look, she just looks so incredible and she looks scary. And that's the thing too, like you don't want these comic book characters and the way that they look to look ridiculous. I'm going to talk about that later when we talk about the Suicide Squad. But you don't want these characters to look ridiculous. You want them to look grounded and you want them to look believable. And especially for a character like Cheetah, who is literally a woman cheetah person, you want her to look scary. And so I was just thrilled. I am so excited to see that on the big screen. Everybody wear your masks. I'm not watching Wonder Woman at home. Wear your damn mask, and then we could see it in the theater. I am not watching it at home. But I also loved when we saw that fight scene, Diana says, Barbara, what did you do? And it makes me really excited because that makes me, you know, it makes me believe, as well as that lunch date scene that we saw in the first one, that Diana's going to have a real close relationship with Barbara throughout this movie. And I'm just really excited to see what kind of dynamic they have, because that can be so heartbreaking for Diana. Not only in the first one, she dealt with losing Steve while being a hero, but this time she's losing a friend to a villainous lifestyle or whatever. I think it's really cool. I'm excited about that. I'm really intrigued to see. And at first, I didn't really like the gold suit, but now I'm actually really digging it. I love the gold suit. It looked so incredible during that fight scene at the end of the trailer. I'm really excited to see what it looks like just throughout the rest of the movie, and I'm really excited to see how Diana even gets it, That's one thing that I absolutely adored about this trailer, is that I still basically know nothing about the movie. We all don't know what the plot is. We don't know what's gonna happen. And that's perfect. That's exactly what trailers are supposed to do. I feel like most of the time, trailers become too revealing, and then they show you too much, and then you can't enjoy the movie because you already know what's happening. But this was a perfect trailer. I still, like I said, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just so thrilled about that. So I'm excited to see exactly what's going to happen with that. Now we're going to talk about the Suicide Squad. So I'm really happy that it's not a reboot. I was kind of worried that it was a reboot. It's just exhausting to watch DC reboot itself every 2 years. But it's not. So I'm actually really excited about that. Viola Davis is back as Amanda Waller. Joel Kinnaman is back as Rick Flag. Margot Robbie obviously is back as Harley Quinn. And Jay Courtney is back as Captain Boomerang. And then there's a whole list of people in this movie. It is a stacked, insanely crowded movie. Michael Rooker as Savant, Flula Borg as Javelin, David Desmaquillin, sorry about your name, as Polka Dot Man, which is a character that I never thought I would ever see, ever. I mean, I play as him on my DC Lego Supervillains game, but I never thought I'd ever see him as a live action character. That is insane to me. Anyway, so then we have Daniela Melchior as Ratcatcher 2. I want to know what happened to Ratcatcher 1. That's the real question. Idris Elba as Bloodsport, not as Deadshot, which a lot of people thought, because people, originally were thinking that this was going to be a reboot. King Shark is going to be in this movie as well. And then Mei Ling as Mongol, Peter Capaldi as the Thinker, Alice Braga as Solsria, Pete Davidson as Blackguard, Nathan Fillion as TDK, Sean Gunn as Weasel, John Cena as Peacemaker. So I like how they're staying similar to the Suicide Squad, or to the original Ayer Suicide Squad, in the marketing, because they've got the little symbols, that match, because they did that with the skulls in the other one. I like that. I like that they're kind of showing it's the next one. It's the next one without just saying Suicide Squad 2. It's the Suicide Squad. I'm excited. But I hope it's a better movie than the first one. The main issue I had with the original Suicide Squad is that the first half of the movie just felt and here's Deadshot, and here's Harley Quinn, and here's this person, and here's this person, and here's how they got here. It was like a slideshow of characters, and then the plot never fully came together. I don't think it even had a plot. It just didn't work. And so I just hope that this one can succeed, and even though there's even more characters in this movie, I'm kind of concerned about that. But in the behind the scenes thing, they said it was more like a 70s war movie meets comic book heroes, which I'm really excited about. I'm so intrigued to see. I hope that that Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn has a huge role in it, because obviously she is the most anticipated character, at least, in my opinion, to see in the next movie. And I loved her new costume. I'm just really excited to see what they do with this character, and I hope that they don't backtrack on the progress that was made in Birds of Prey. Margot Robbie would never let that happen, but I just hope that James Gunn, wrote her in line with Birds of Prey, because that movie was incredible, obviously, for Harley Quinn and her growth and stuff, so I hope that we see that. So then we see a trailer for Justice League, the Snyder Cut. I'm just gonna say it. Darkseid looks awful. He looks terrible. Oh my god. Everybody was like, oh my god, look at Darkseid. I don't want to look at him. He looks terrible. It just looks so bad. The CGI on him looks so bad. And I know that it's probably not done, but why would they put it in if it's not done? It just looks horrible. And so the whole first half of this trailer is just footage that we've already seen before. Apart from Darkseid, all of this was in the original trailer from 2016 that just didn't make it into Whedon's cut. Even some of it did, but I distinctly remember, you know, like you can look up the first trailer for Justice League and see half of those scenes, or actually probably all of them, you know, like the Cyborg playing football, Batman looking at the projection of Superman, all of those scenes, seen them before. I am excited to see like more of Mara and more of Lois and more of Iris, because we didn't even see her in Whedon's cut, so I'm excited for that. The different look for Steppenwolf is definitely interesting. You know, he looks shinier. I don't know. The thing about this movie is that it looks just as pretentious and awful as Batman vs. Superman. Which is why I'm so glad that he's not in charge of anything anymore. Like, listen, I just am not a Snyder fan. I don't like his movies. I can't stand his take on Superman. I just don't like it. And the thing is that everything is so pretentious and so, like, in your face and so deep and so dark and so this and so that. And, like, yeah, that works for characters like Batman. That works for them. That works for him. He's broody and he's dark and he is pretentious and he's, you know, all of those things. But for Superman, that just does not work that well. That's why, like, the Christopher Reeves ones were so successful, because that's who Superman is. He's your friend. He's your best friend. He's, you know, the man that lives next door that would help you carry your groceries in. You know, he's that kind of person. And I just feel like the tone that Snyder has had for this whole entire time, it's not Superman. And this movie, the 4-part, 4-hour-long thing, is just ridiculous. And I hate especially that this is kind of being put out, because people are always like, let directors do whatever they want. But are you gonna sit and watch a 4-hour-long movie if it went to the theaters? No, you're not. You're not. Don't even lie. You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do that. It is ridiculous. Like, there is a reason that studios chop up movies. There's a reason that studios mess with movies. And yes, sometimes it's for the worst, but also sometimes it's for the better. Because sometimes movies don't need to be so goddamn long. If Avengers Endgame wasn't, you know, like the pinnacle of the past 10 years, I swear to God, nobody would be as excited about it. Like, 3-hour-long movie, that was already way too goddamn long. It didn't even need to be that long. And now here we are again with another movie that goes on and on and on forever and just is, like, so pretentious and so deep and so dark and so annoying, and nobody's gonna crack a smile. It's like the Kristen Stewart Bella of superhero movies. It's ridiculous. Anyway, now we're going to talk about another movie that's really dark. But the thing is that it fits this character. We're talking about the Batman. And I kind of like this grounded approach that's being taken with this film. I'm really excited. Like, having the Riddler be a serial killer instead of like a goofy guy who can hypnotize people is so interesting to me. Like, Pattinson's suit is also just everything. It looks so good. Like, it's believable. That's the thing, is like, it's believable. I believe that guy built that suit. And I believe that guy could be running around today, you know, because sometimes, like, especially if you look at like Michael Keaton's Batman, or especially like Clooney's Batman with the nipples on it, I just don't believe that those guys are running around today. You know what I mean? And so I think that makes this film feel so grounded and believable. And people also have been complaining about Pattinson's hair in the trailer when he's Bruce Wayne, like how it's down and it looks greasy and he looks like Tobey Maguire from Spider-Man 3. And while all of that is true, I like it. I mean, even though Bruce is like, yes, he's rich and he's a public figure, but I feel like he's more of like like a, not like a myth, but like he's not the socialite that, that Batfleck was. That's not who this Bruce Wayne is. He's not rubbing elbows with everybody. He's not Michael Keaton having parties at Wayne Manor. I feel like he's just like a weird loner, and I feel like people in Gotham probably like either like pity him for the loss of his parents, or they just like hate him out of like jealousy and spite or whatever. So I'm really intrigued to see exactly how this happens, and I was so excited, especially to see Selina Kyle. I love that this is like, another origin story for her, but I hope it's a bit different, especially from, iconic portrayals like Michelle Pfeiffer or like Eartha Kitt. And I especially love that when Bruce takes off his helmet, he still has the panda eyes. I feel like that is something that should be implemented into every single character who wears a mask, that when you take off the mask, you shouldn't just not have your circles around your eyes. It was like Rain on Supergirl. They kept the eyeshadow that she wears under her mask. I loved that because that makes sense in the real world. Like in Batman Returns, he takes off his mask and he doesn't have the paint anymore, and it doesn't make any sense. But it just looks great. It looks dark. It's like a psychological thriller. I'm just really excited to see Bruce be a detective. And just, unlike most portrayals of him where he's just a brute who, like, beats people up, I'm really excited to see him be kind of, this, like, weird loner guy who just, like, solves crime and just, like, beats the hell out of people. I'm excited. I'm really excited about it. I think Robert Pattinson is the casting choice of the year, like, of the decade, of the millennia. I think he's perfect for Bruce Wayne. I'm excited. So there's some other miscellaneous stuff that I want to talk about really quick. So Christina Hodson, the main writer for Birds of Prey, along with Margot Robbie, but Christina did basically the most of the, screenplay for the movie. She wrote the Flash movie, which is really exciting for me. Like, I was really iffy about this Flash movie, especially because it's going to be Flashpoint, and that is going to be so hard when we barely even know this Flash. But I'm excited about it because I have so much faith in Christina. She wrote such a kick-ass movie with Birds of Prey, such a great movie. I have all the faith in her, and I'm really, really excited to see her come back to DC and do this Flash project. And like we all thought, it'll be Flashpoint, and it will also feature Batfleck as well as Michael Keaton's Batman. The Flash will be getting a new suit, which was clearly inspired by DC TV Flash after meeting during Crisis, which is really cool how they're incorporating that, because the Flash from the movies gets his name from DC TV Flash, and then will also obviously have a suit inspired by him. Jim Lee confirmed that the DCEU actually was the one to reach out to Greg Berlanti and the CW to make that Ezra cameo happen in Crisis. So I feel like, as I had said before in my Crisis recap, I think it was episode 4 of my Crisis recaps, I think they were filming for the Flash movie that day as well. So definitely check out that episode to kind of hear more of my thoughts about that. And then Black Adam is another movie that was teased at the event. No trailers really or anything, just kind of concept art with some voiceover by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. It'll feature the Justice Society of America, which I guess kind of rules out Shazam as having a major role, because I feel like JSA is always kind of a thing of the past, like Hawkman, all of those characters. It feels like they're always in the past. Maybe that's just Legends of Tomorrow influencing me on that, but I feel like maybe this movie will take place, like in the past, like in the 60s or something like that, when Black Adam is finally released from his prison. We'll see, though. Aquaman 2 is said to be more grounded, which makes me sad. I loved the Shakespearean vibes of the first one. It was so melodramatic. It was so over the top. I loved it, but I am excited for the next one. Ocean Master will return, and I guess it'll be a culturally relevant story. Probably to do with climate change, kind of like the first one, but maybe not. I don't know. Who knows what else they'll kind of sneak into this movie, but I'm intrigued. And we also briefly heard from Javicia Leslie on what her thoughts are about stepping into Batwoman's boots during the Boss Women of Color panel, which she said means so much to her. There was also an interview released on The Hollywood Reporter just today that stated that there will be a new Batwoman suit, which is really exciting. So this further adds to my theory that Kate will return and we'll have 2 Batwomen. I'm excited. And there was also some tidbits that were released because somebody found a leaked casting video. All the names were changed, but I'm going to talk about it as if they weren't. So basically, it's assumed that they were casting for Sophia Sohail, and how she is confessing to Alice that she didn't kill her. In the script, it says brother, but everybody's like, duh, it's Kate. Like, didn't kill your sister, Kate. And she also says that she can bring Kate back. And then Caroline Dries talked a bit on the legacy of the Bat panel. And she just said that they were excited to make history and bring Ryan into this universe. She said Ryan doesn't fit with the other heroes, and it'll be her season arc to figure out what wearing the suit means to her. Batwoman still has that uphill battle that I talked about to face, because I definitely was kind of like still on, I'm not quite there. I'm still lukewarm about Batwoman season 2. I am. I can't help it. I'm just still, not quite there yet. So they definitely still have that uphill battle to face when it comes time for DC Fandome on September 12th. I'm really intrigued to see what'll happen on the panel. I hope that, like I said, I hope that maybe we have some pictures by then, because they had said in the Hollywood Reporter article that Javicia hasn't even seen her new suit yet. Maybe by that time they'll have, the suit, and they'll have a picture of her in the suit, because she's in Vancouver already, so who knows? We'll have to see. Supergirl will not have a panel, but David Harewood and Nicole Maines, they'll be on a DC Comics diversity panel on September 12th. That'll be interesting. I was really surprised that Supergirl did not have a bigger presence at this, but it makes sense, because, Melissa, having to deal with a baby, and Kyler, she clearly just has no Wi-Fi. She has horrible connections, so that wouldn't work out very well. Katie doesn't do internet, and that's the series' like 3 biggest people. So it would be kind of weird to have a panel without them, but it's still very surprising that there's no Supergirl panel at this damn thing. But maybe, we'll see. Maybe there'll be a surprise panel and we'll all be very surprised. Who knows? And then when we actually do the episode talking about Batwoman, I will be having Eliana back as a guest, and I'm really excited about it. I'll have better audio this time. It'll be it'll be more enjoyable. But I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to talk to her and see how she feels, especially, like I said, after this kind of uphill battle that they have to face at the panel. Hopefully we'll all be feeling a little relieved. Hopefully we'll get some good information, because obviously, like I said in my previous episode, the whole entire cast is going to be there. I'm super, super interested to see what is going to happen. And that is all that I have today. I tried to make this DC Fandome, the 24 hours of DC Fandome in 24 minutes, and I did it basically. If you discount the intro, then it's 24 minutes. But yeah, so thank you guys so much for listening. Let me know what your favorite parts of DC Fandome were this weekend. Let me know if you are really excited about the next panel that's going to happen, the next events that are going to happen. And don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, share, leave me a comment. You could tweet me at televisedpod and let me know what you think. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.